So another season here at Celtic. How are you feeling about the campaign ahead?
Yeah, excited. Another fresh slate to start a season here. Again, a lot of talented players in the group, a lot of hungry players as well with who we've added in. And we retain a lot of experience. So it's another great opportunity for us. But it also starts off pretty heavy as well. You got a big month, obviously, with the Champions League qualifier, and that kind of will, really set the tone for how the season's going to go. But so far, it's been a great preseason. I think that we're ready to go and get this campaign underway.
How do you feel the depth of the squad, the quality in the squad, and almost the form that you're coming into the season in compares to previous years?
Oh, it's a good question. I always think that there's always so much talent in our squad. I think that also the young players, that what they've shown through preseason, they're another year older, obviously, more experience under their belt. They'll definitely be able to add something to the squad. And overall, in terms of the preseason, I think that for everyone that was watching any of the matches, I think that there was some really good moments, barring, maybe a half here or there. That one against, Ajax was probably the one that stood out. It was probably the only negative part of preseason. But again, we learned from it, and we've built on that. So, no, I think that the morale, the quality of the team that we have here, I think, again, it's strong enough to, go and achieve the goals that we want. Again, the transfer window's not closed yet, so we'll see what happens in these last couple of weeks here. But no, in terms of the quality that we have here, we got plenty, and we got plenty of experience as well.
And what are the goals you want this year?
I think it's the same as every year here at Celtic. It's pretty straightforward with that, is that you're aiming to lift every trophy that you're a part of. So that means, obviously, you're going for all the domestic ones. And then in Europe, we got to make sure that we get into the Champions League, which isn't going to be easy. But at the same time, is that if you do get into it, or whatever the case is that you go as far as you possibly can in a European competition. And that's something that, again, I think we look back on. We've learned, we've gained more experience in that competition and understanding of what it takes at that level. And now that we kind of have a year under our belt of playing in that campaign, what it looks like with that new format, I think there's a lot of optimism that, you get a good draw, that anything really is possible. So no, there's definitely an excitement with that as well.
Players don't get much of a break in the summer, but for you, busy on and off the pitch, how was your summer?
That was great, thank you. Yeah, I was definitely busy off the pitch as well. Got married, so did that honeymoon, and then straight from the honeymoon off to some international football, which was always good fun. So yeah, played in the Gold Cup, played a couple of matches there, and then after that, guys were nice enough to give me a bit more time off before I met back up with the team here, and then went off to Como. So it's been a busy off season, been a bit everywhere, done a lot of things, but yeah, focused and recharged.
I was just about to ask you if you recharged after you're married.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it was nice to get that all done. It was a great day, a great weekend all together, for both of us, and having all of our family and friends there was pretty special. And yeah, no, I think the sleepless nights don't start till you have kids, so it's been pretty good at the house.
I'll not go there. Flag Day is always a bit special, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's always a great day. I've been lucky enough to be a part of a couple of them. It's always a special day. I think it's a reminder, for all of us, how much hard work that we put in the previous season, and it's a reminder that this is what we're aiming for this season, and that nothing's given. Everyone's at got 0 points in the table at the start of the season, so it's a reminder that, hey, this starts right away. So it's always an exciting day. It's a great day for our fans, and it's also a good reminder, and I think a lesson to all the new boys that come in the door, that this is what this club's all about. It's about raising banners, it's about raising trophies, and I think that always kind of starts the season off in good stead.
You mentioned the reference in terms of the Champions League. I mean, how much of it is a burning desire within the group to go that next level?
Yeah, I think that once you've experienced Champions League nights at Celtic Park and going away to some of the biggest venues, when you're playing some of the best players and the best clubs in the world, once you get a little taste of that, that's all you really want. You just want to be in those environments, playing and competing against those teams at every possible opportunity. So it's important for us, as I touched on before, is that whoever we get in this final qualification draw, that we find a way to get through that tie. It's not going to be easy. But yeah, once you've been out there, you've experienced that. There's nothing quite like that in club football. So that's got to be the plan, and there's definitely a burning desire within the entire group to, can we even go further than we did last year? Because I think that we put on a real good show for not only ourselves but for our fans, to the rest of the world about what we're all about as a football club. And I still think that there's levels that we can go further, and that's an exciting thing that we want to try and test and see how far we can push it.
I know there's loads of excitement with the club football, domestic, European, but given what's at stake as well for yourself, Canada next summer as well with the World Cup in your own country as well, is that even a even bigger season for you, just to make sure you're fit and firing for that stage as well?
Yeah, no, it's a massive season, not only for myself, but a lot of guys in our change room in terms of, a lot of guys want to be a part of that, their national team set up for 2026 World Cup. Obviously for myself, being a home World Cup too, it's something that, you dream about, being able to be a part of a World Cup team, but not only that, but on home soil, it's pretty special. So yeah, for me, it's an added motivation just in terms of taking care of the little things. Obviously you want to be playing your best throughout this entire season to take myself into that in the best possible way, but it's also about being fit, making sure that I'm taking care of all the little things so that I can be available, because as we've seen the past couple seasons, there's a lot of football matches here, especially if you go deep in all your domestic competitions, you go deep in Europe, it adds up. So for me, it's about making sure that I'm fit, I'm available, and I'm getting to that stage of my career now where I know I'm trying to become one of the more older and probably more experienced players in this squad. So, trying to really kind of, really become that top level player that I know I can be deep down, and hopefully do that for both Celtic and my national team this year.
I think I read it was 57 games. Your 57th game was maybe about a month ago as well. How do you make sure that you're recovered, you're recharged, and you just keep that going throughout the season when you talk about recovery in between games as well?
It's not easy in terms of when you're just playing that many football matches, but at the same time, our coaching staff does a really good job with our sports science and our medical staff in terms of finding that proper balance of that workload. They do a really good job of managing myself, CCV, guys like that they know are going to play, big minutes and also have some other, potential ailments that have kind of lingered from the past. So they do a really good job of that. So it really is about, leaving, that kind of stuff to the people who got their degrees and their expertise in it, and going along with what they say, because at the end of the day, they have what's best for us at heart. But 57 matches is a lot of football, and there isn't really an off season anymore. I think we've seen that now. The addition of even the Club World Cup, it's just constantly a calendar that continues to get divided and spread out between all the different tournaments, and whether it's international and club. So there's a lot of demands on the player. So it's really about being a professional on and off the pitch and taking care of your body and doing the little things that could be the difference between being able to play that many matches or not.
You played a huge part in James Forrest's goal last time out. Are you desperate to get him off the mark a lot earlier this season?
I'd be buzzing if we could do it against St Mirren again at home. Just this time being the first match rather than the 38th. Look, it's an unbelievable streak. That was, again, one of the loudest roars I've ever heard at Celtic Park, and I've heard quite a few good ones. I think that goes to show how much he means to this fan base and this club. I think everyone realizes what a living legend he is. So hopefully we can keep that streak going, and obviously let's hopefully get it done a little bit earlier in the season, so we're not all desperately telling him to shoot at every possible opportunity for the last month of the season. But I have a good feeling that he's going to get off the mark pretty quickly here.
What was going through your head at that point when the whole stadium's screaming at you to pass to him?
Definitely wasn't shoot, but there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to shoot. Like, I was never shooting that ball. I just had to try and line it up just enough to draw that defender in to think that I was, but it was always, even if it wasn't Jamesy, it was getting past there. But as soon as I realized it was going to be him and watching him just walk onto it, I've seen him do it in training 100 times. Just a lovely little connection, cut across it. What a great moment that was. I think everyone really enjoyed that, and I think I watched that clip back on my phone quite a few times just to hear that roar, because it was really cool.
It was a great pass before it. A lot of players would have had a shot themselves, but was it just a moment that will maybe live with you yourself for the part that you played? Yeah,
I think so. In terms of, it's hard to watch that goal without seeing that pass, and to think that I was a part of it's kind of cool. At the end of the day, I'm glad I didn't shoot it, because Lord knows where that ball would have gone. To think that I got to play a small part in, James Forrest's pretty illustrious Celtic history is always a cool thing. I'm just glad that he finished it, for crying out loud. It would have been a real bummer if he shanked that one, but no, I had full faith in the man.
You had a great partnership with Nicholas Kuhn last year down the right side. I think it was Jamesy this year, or Yang maybe.
Yeah, no, it's obviously part of being at a big club. There's obviously going to be turnover. Me and Nick definitely developed a really good partnership in terms of him being on the left foot, cutting inside, me overlapping and underlapping. But at the same time, I've played tons with Jamesy and Yang. So yeah, it's going to be about building that relationship, getting the that understanding again of exactly what each player likes. They're both right-footed. Both probably prefer to take their fullback on the outside, and how that then affects my game and how I get them the ball is going to be different than what exactly I did with Nick. But at the same time, I mean, there's bundles of quality between the two of them. So yeah, we'll definitely work on that as the season progresses. But again, with me and Nick at the beginning, it wasn't easy necessarily right away. We didn't hit the ground running. It takes time. So yeah, I'm going to have to figure out that relationship, just like they're going to have to figure out that out on the left side. Obviously losing Greg and Jeff, and then we got Kieran and Inamura. It's going to be obviously a different kind of left side too. So Dyson's going to have to figure that out with KT, for example. But I think that's a challenge that all footballers understand. When you're at a club like this, there's going to be turnover, things going to happen, and you just got to be able to, roll with it and figure out, how you can be successful.
When you got away with Canada, were any of the boys over there talking about maybe coming to Celtic?
Not too much, to be honest. Trying to think. I've definitely tried in the past to see if I can get some nibbles, and I've pushed a couple of the lads to the coaching staff, so we'll see. But no Canadians that I have on my radar right now, I have a feeling, are making the jump over to Celtic that I'm aware of.